Studios in fabulous Las Vegas. This is Las Vegas Studios. This show is called Full Tilt Vegas. I have a very special guest. His name is Anthony Curtis, not the actor, but he has his Las Vegas Advisor, which he's going to tell you about that. And he has another magazine or other businesses, but he's a former card counter. I've seen his videos. He's been on the Travel Channel. He's been on Vegas Cheats. I've seen him for years, and he has a vast knowledge of Vegas, card counting. I'm really happy to have him on my show. Okay, Anthony.
All right, great.
You can say hello and introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, you just did. You just introduced me, man. I mean, yeah, I publish books on gambling mathematics, and we publish a newsletter called Las Vegas Advisor, which we have for years and years, which is pretty much something that just tells you what's going on. We handle everything. There's our website, LasVegasAdvisor.com. And it's not all gambling. It's how to get a cheap room in Vegas, how to find the best buffet prices, who's got the best shrimp cocktail deal, where's the promos. We do things like that. We've been doing it for decades.
Yeah. I saw one of your interviews. You said when you came here, I think it was in 84 or
79.
70. Wow.
Yeah.
Super, 79. You said
Back when you were in kindergarten or something.
Right now. I remember you saying when you got here, you want to, hey, where do I stay cheap? Where do I eat cheap? There's a few pieces of paper, newsletters, but there's no magazine.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put that on the back burner, and I'll do that someday.
That's exactly what happened. I was in California. I was in Huntington Beach, California, and I was going to go to school at UCLA, but I'd been studying gambling math and counting cards and all that for years and years. I came originally from Detroit, and I was studying and ready to go, and I turned 21, and I said, I don't need to go to college. I'm just going to come straight to Vegas, which wasn't so cool with my dad because my dad was a university professor at the time. But I was looking around preparing for my move from Huntington Beach to Vegas. I couldn't find any information. There was just nothing. There were no newsletters. There were no magazines. There was nothing. So it was in the back of my mind. I always said at some point I might try to do this, and ended up doing it.
Yeah. What is it, 84 or 87?
Started in 84. Yeah, I came out here in 79, and I did the first issue of the LVA, as we call it, Las Vegas Advisor, in 1984. And I did that for about a year and a half, and then I kind of put it in mothballs for a while. Not quite mothballs. I kept it going a little bit with like a 1 or 2 page sort of information sheet. But at that time, I was playing professionally with some of the big card counting teams out here. So I did that until we got too well known, and I was not able to play anymore, or not allowed. And I went back to doing it full time, and that's what I've been doing now for 30 years.
Yeah, I remember when I came here, I says, man, we're because when I first came here, I think it was in '95, and I didn't come here with very much money. I had an old beat up '73 truck. And I think I had like $300 in my pocket. And I knew the people from the Stardust because I used to go there all the time, and they used to comp me. So a friend of mine gave me a motor room on comp. He said, Rich, you going to gamble? I go, yeah. You going to gamble tonight? I go, yeah. I'll give you a motor room for 2 days. So I got a motor room. And then...
those places in the back, right?
Right, it was in the back. Yeah. Yeah, actually, they filmed some movies.
We all went there in the beginning. we were all there, believe me.
Yeah, they filmed, what was that? I can't remember that, Vegas. There was a movie they filmed back there, and there was some pretty good stars back there. But I end up saying, man, how am I going to find where to eat cheap and all this? I said, oh, wait a minute, remember that guy? What was that guy's name? He had that advisor or something. Yeah. And I said, let me look at that. But there's a lot of information, the rooms, the food, what's going on in town, what's coming up. What casinos are opening?
Well, it seemed to, when I did it, it seemed to resonate. Everybody thought I was crazy when I started it. They're like, who cares? I go, I don't know. A lot of people come out here and they want to hear, they want to learn things. So we were very careful. By we, I mean myself and whoever I was working with at the time. We were just very careful to make sure that we covered a lot of different things, and we tried to be very non-biased, and we tried not to do the things that everybody advertised. We tried to find things ourselves, and we did, because we were living here. And we were living off the land, we literally were living off the land because playing coupons all around to survive, that sort of thing. and we found the deals. And when we found the deals, we wrote about the deals, and it rang a bell with people, and they've been buying it for years.
Oh, to me, I tell everybody, we go to parties. I just still do parties in California. But I tell everybody, they go, hey, we're going to be going to Vegas. Where do we stay? Where do we eat cheap? They're always asking me that. I say, go on the internet and go look at Anthony Curtis, Las Vegas Advisor. Look at that, and I'll tell you everything you need to know, rooms, food, wherever. Trust me, just go to, I plug you all the time.
See, I like guys like you. That's why I'm on your show.
Yeah. Now, we might get back to that, but I know a lot of people out there, because we advertise this show, and we're going to boost it. They're gonna want to ask me to ask you this, so I gotta ask. How, when you first started card counting, how did it go? Was it rough? Was it a smooth transition, or was it a learning experience?
It wasn't anything but smooth, and I would say it was pretty rough. I mean, the way it started is, I got a single book about it, and
Beat the Dealer?
nope. The first book I got was a book by a guy named Charles Einstein. I think it was called Win at Blackjack or something, but the guy's name was Einstein, not the Einstein, but that was his name. And it was a pretty good count. It was a decent count. There were some problems I later found out, but I read that book, and I then started reading everything. And Einstein's book was pretty good, but I found out there were better books like Stanford Wong. That was one of the big names. So I read Wong's books, then Ken Houston, then Peter Griffin. Then, I slowly began to find out who I was supposed to be reading about. And I'm doing all this stuff before I turned 21. So I'm going to school.
Right.
I was a wrestler in Michigan, and I was a good wrestler. I was second in the state in Michigan, and so I had a wrestling scholarship to Duke and then later to UCLA. And while I was going to school there, I wasn't 21, but I was going to my classes, but I was reading all these books about gambling, right? And as soon as I turned 21, I just said, that's enough. I'd read so much, I knew what I wanted to do, and I came out to Vegas, and I tried to give it a go in the casinos, and I was a fantastic card counter in a vacuum. If you just put me in a vacuum, I was fine. But once they put me on the floor and I had to play for real,
right,
man, my head started spinning. I'm like, what the hell? What's going on here? So it took me a while to get acclimated to it. And it took me, a year or so before I really kind of got myself settled and figured it out. And then things, began to fall into place after that.
Yeah, I did the same thing when I was drilling myself. I think it was in '95, and I says, I think I'm ready to go, but I'm going to go downtown. I think I went to, my first time I went Circus, and I started playing there. I got on the tables, me and another guy, and it's funny. You think, oh, I'm gonna walk up and man, I start there. They're watching me. Somebody's gonna grab me. I'm going to jail. All this stuff starts coming out of your head, because I was actually the way I learned the card count, it was working. It worked right off the bat, and I said, "This is too easy. How come everybody doesn't do this?"
That's sometimes a bad thing when that happens.
Yes. I do talk about that in some of my episodes. I talk about the newbies, horse racing or roulette or blackjack or craps. That's one of the worst things that can happen to a newbie.
When you win right away.
They win right away. Yeah. But I turned $25 into a $175 hand, and I split eights, and I beat the dealer, and the guy over here got all pissed off. He said, I'm taking all his tens. I go, I'm playing my game. After I'm done with cards, and you can, whatever cards come out, then you can do that. But you got to play your game.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about those other people. But, I didn't have that problem. Like I said, it's sometimes dangerous when you win right away because you get too confident. I did not win right away. I got my rear end kicked pretty good. So, I kept coming back going, okay, this will work. I know this will work. I just got to figure it out. And I didn't have any kind of false confidence, and and then I just built it up slowly. But yeah, you get a lot of people that will yell and scream at you. They don't know what they're talking about. I just go, I don't care. You like it or not, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It's my money. That's what I'm going to do.
Exactly. If there's any callers want to call, want to ask Anthony any questions or anything on, it's probably it could be on anything, but it's probably going to be blackjack. But you can talk to him. If you want to talk about his the Las Vegas Advisor, you can do that. Just you want to call in, we'll answer your questions. You got the number up there? Is 185? I can never remember that number. Just the last one is 4321.
Nobody remembers their own number. That's all right.
So, but yes, I know what you're saying. I did the same thing. A lot of people, a lot of card counters, they like to sit at first base. I understand why, but I actually done better first, second, and third. It depends what cards or what the person is, how the person is playing. Now they say that doesn't matter. I think it's to a point. To me, it's up to a point where the person's hitting. They might hit somebody. One time, somebody had.
Well, you're worried about people behind you making plays that you don't like.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
but you don't know what's coming out unless you're
Right.
counting cards. But sometimes it actually worked in my favor.
yeah.
So you don't
Well,
know.
You just said it. I mean, a lot of
Right.
people don't understand this. A player who plays poorly at your table does not hurt you.
Hmm.
Everyone thinks that's baloney. They think they do. They get mad at people. But there have been actually scientific studies done on this.
Right.
Because as many a times as they will make a play that hurts you, they will make a play that helps you.
Right.
Even though it's a terrible play, they might do something that's completely idiotic, but that may very much have helped you. And I mean, I never worry about it whatsoever. So a lot of people like to play third base. They think they're going to be the anchor. You know, they're going to make the last decision. It doesn't mathematically. It really doesn't matter. I know some card counters who like to play a single deck game and play in third base, so they don't have to play until they've seen more cards.
Right.
So if they're playing in a single deck, then it begins to matter the more cards you see because you're going down into that pack quickly. Now, if you're playing a double deck or multiple decks, then where you sit really doesn't matter whatsoever. But other than that, there's probably no real reason to want to play a particular place unless you really like it. You feel better. You're just more at ease playing at first base or in the middle or whatever.
Yeah.
But mathematically, there actually is no reason.
Yeah, I don't like playing single double decks because you get too many stiff hands. In my book, it's in the book Winning Ways. I have tables that I devise. I made those tables, and I show you if you have a 12, which is the best stiff hand you can have in a deck, single deck, 8, 10, whatever. But then it goes to 16. And I give you the ratios that your ratios are taking another card, and I show you all those tables. So you can actually memorize those. I have 8 blackjack memorized, a single, double deck, 8 decks, 6 decks. I have the ratio of 12 memorized because I know those to me are important when you run into it because I doubled down on 12 a lot in one.
Well, that's more than I do. I didn't memorize that much, but most card counting systems will give you a set of index numbers.
Right.
They'll tell you how to count what the cards should be assigned, what their values are. These the two things they do. They tell you what the cards are worth as they come out, and then they'll tell you as your count goes. They'll tell you when you deviate from basic strategy. So what people really need to understand, if they want to learn to count cards, they've got to learn basic strategy first.
Right.
Because all of the moves you use card counting for two things. One is to size your bet. So when you have an edge, you bet more. Right? When the deck is in your favor based on the count, you bet more. But you will also vary your play based on the count. And I learned those tables. Sounds like you've taken it another step. I was pretty confident playing it that way. It's always worked pretty well.
Yeah, because one time my daughter and her husband and my son knew a lot what I was doing. My daughter did here and there, but she likes it. The only thing she plays is craps. But blackjack she's very new at that time, and I was counting the cards. I was standing behind him counting, and I go, wow, the count is high. And I told her, I says, no, I'm like, nah, I wouldn't take that hit. But I was telling her, and the dealer's saying, you want to hit it? She goes, no. The next time, I think my daughter got, I don't know what it was, but I told her, I said, wow, you know what, that looks good, man. If I was playing this game, because sometimes I act like I'm a dummy there, because if you act too smart, they're going to go, this guy's a card counter.
Well, that's a big part of it.
Right.
I mean, the people who play, men and women who play professionally, there's two parts to it. It's art and science. And the science is learning how to do it. So it's kind of like when I started. I knew the science real well. I mean, I understood it. I could count a deck down real fast. I knew when to make the deviations and the changes. But when I got into the casino, then the art took over. I had to be able to do it that way.
Right.
And then you have to be able to get away with it.
Right.
So it's art and science. The science is doing it. The art is getting away with it.
Yeah, in one deck, I got to 23 seconds. I could count one deck.
That's good. That's all you need, man. If you can do under 30 seconds, that's all you need to be able to do.
I actually play, and I told this on episode 12 with Cliff. He'll be on next week. I actually play better when I'm drinking.
Really?
I know people say
You sure?
Oh yeah, and then it actually sometimes, a lot of times, it worked towards my favor because when I get, say, I get a stiff hand and the count is low, I already know I'm probably no 10's gonna come out, more likely. So there I am, drinking. Going, oh man, last time I played that stupid hand, I kept busting, or I reverse it. I said, man, every time I don't take it, I could have won. Let me have a hit. And I'm drinking and then boom, and I'm not playing $5. I might have $50, $100, $200. I'm not, and then I'm winning. I'm going, oh shit, I need another one. but I do play better. I hate to say this, people. I'm not telling you to drink, but I've been doing this for 35 years, so I just got used to it.
All I know is that I think I do a lot of things better when I'm drinking. I don't know if I do or not. So I'd be a little careful with that. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I'll tell you this. When I played on some of the big card counting teams in the 80s and 90s, and we would usually have somebody playing the big money.
Right.
He's called the big player,
Right.
or the BP, big player. And I often did that because I could drink a little better than the others. So I would drink while I was playing. Now, I wasn't making the decisions. I was getting signals from the guys
Right.
I was playing with. So all I had to do was be able to read the signals and play the hands correctly based on the signals. And then drinking was a part of our gig. It's
Right.
like they're looking at me going, look at this goof, I mean, this guy's just pounding beers over here. He can't be doing anything.
Right.
So there is a place for it.
Right.
But I don't know, there's a line somewhere there,
Yeah, I've seen I've seen a lot of the documentaries on the MIT teams. I've seen documentaries on, I can't remember that guy. That guy was really good. Sam Houston. I saw the Hollywood version of 21, and a lot of that stuff.
A lot of BS in that
Oh
movie.
man, I go, man, I'm in the theater watching this. That's bullshit. That didn't happen.
Well, the interesting thing is that was about the MIT team that was playing when my group was playing. And it wasn't my group. I was the youngest guy in the group. So, I mean, it wasn't like I ran the team or anything. I was lucky to be on it. But we knew all those guys that were in the movie. And like the Kevin Spacey character,
Right.
who's such a jerk, right? I mean, the real guy's name is John Chang. And John's one of the nicest guys you ever met in your life. And he's the exact polar opposite of what Kevin Spacey portrayed in that movie. And we knew all of them. And that movie was full of crap. I mean, there was
Yeah.
just a lot of dumb things in that
Yeah,
movie.
that's Hollywood. Well, I was in in the 80s, I was in a couple of movies and commercials. The one I was in, the one they saw my hand and the back of my, it was Team Bonsai. It was Buckaroo Banzai with Peter Weller. His next movie was RoboCop.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so, but I know Hollywood, they blow stuff up because if you tell the real story, you might as well do a documentary.
Oh, yeah.
If you're showing the movie, you got to have some type of suspense or something that's wasn't there and glamorize it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw this or knew this, but maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I was on Bar Rescue. You know the TV show Bar Rescue?
No, I didn't know you were on that one.
Yeah, I was on Bar Rescue. That's the John Taffer, vehicle. And it was the Sand Dollar Lounge here in Las Vegas. And the reason they asked me on, I was one of the experts, not because of drinking or knowing about bars, but because it was about them trying to fix their video poker machines to make more money, change their schedules and things like that. So I was on this show and got to see what it was all about. And like you say, they build everything up, and it was just so much garbage and make-believe that was on this whole thing. And they gave me a script. Like the night before the show, they asked me to come in and explain, some of the rudiments of how a video poker machine works and some of the math of video poker. So I explained it, and all these writers were writing furiously. The next day, they handed me a script, and they go, here's what we want you to say, and they got everything wrong. And I said, I'm not saying this. And so they went to Taffer, and they said, he said he's not going to do the script. And Taffer said, if you don't want to say it, you don't have to say it. He goes, he can say what he wants. So I give Taffer credit for that.
Yeah.
But it's all about the drama. It's not really
Right.
about the correctness of things when you start talking about movies and television.
Yeah, you actually, if they use it, whatever they were writing down, whatever you're saying, you actually should have got a credit for that. But I have a friend, Patrick. He was on I don't remember if you remember. It was in 90. I think it was in 93 to 8 or something. Anyway, the Vegas show. I have a friend there. He was a technical advisor for blackjack and craps. So that was pretty good. But
The Vegas series.
yeah,
The series.
with James Caan.
Oh yeah.
He's a buddy of mine, and when I saw him, we were doing these these games at Christmas time. That's when he usually just shows up at Christmas time, and I saw him coming towards me, and I said, "God, that guy looks familiar. That looks like that guy that's on that Vegas." Because I saw that show, I saw that reruns like probably 6 times. 'Cause I love the Vegas shit, and it kept true to the story. That's why it stayed on for so long. But I came up, I said, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" He goes, "You know what you look like? You look like that guy from the show Vegas." And he looked at me and he kind of smiled. I go, "You're him, huh?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "What happened? You lost like 30 pounds." He goes, "Yeah." But it was him. And he told me the whole story, technical advisor. He didn't get no credit. And I said, "You should have got credit. I saw the stuff you did." So what they did at the end, they gave him speaking lines in about 4 or 5 episodes. And then the guy, one of the producers says, "For what you did for us during these 6 years, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put a plug in you. We'll get you on Castle." So he ended up becoming a detective on Castle.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All
So
right, that's good.
You
Well,
help out.
Yeah, a lot of this TV stuff. I've been asked to, give advice or consult on several things with TVs and movies, and they'll use you best they can. I mean, in the beginning, I was just like, "Oh wow," my eyes got all big, and I'm like, "I'm going to be involved," And then I got to the point where I said, "No, man. I mean, let me see what's the pay, what's the credit, what's the thing," and we kind of went from there. So, I mean, the Bar Rescue was cool because it was a high profile thing and it was different from what I normally did. I mean, I did a lot of Travel Channel, I did Discovery, I did the Learning Channel, I did a lot of these things, card counting demonstrations, talking about the math, that sort of thing. So Bar Rescue was a lot lighter. It was fun. It was a cool thing to do. Although it took all week. And I mean, like I run a publishing business, and I had to take a week off, almost to go do this thing because they shoot over and over and over and over and over again, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
But it was nice to do one time.
Yeah, that's when I first got involved with the movies. As an extra, I was an extra in a lot of them. Then I got a small principal parts in some of them, but I remember I got used to it, and I actually went to school for acting, and they tell you right there, proper etiquette on the set. If you're in the waiting room with the casting director, you stay in that room. Don't talk to the actors. Don't talk to the producer. You're an extra. Your background. That's what you do. And you can make a career out of it. But it's up to you. But that's proper etiquette. So I always remembered that.
Yeah, they're all kind of proud of themselves too. I mean, it's like there's a caste system. You're way down here, we're way up here. That sort of thing. But again, Bar Rescue was good because it was the whole premise of the show was they were talking about video poker, and none of them knew one darn thing about video poker. So it was basically anything I wanted to do was a go.
Right. Yeah, I usually tell on a couple of my episodes, I tell them if you're going to be playing slot machines, play video poker and always play the max. If you're not doing, you shouldn't even be playing.
Yeah, it's good advice. It's good. You're always going to. You're almost always if you're going to play. The rules of thumb for your audience is better to play a table game than a machine, and that the reason for that is odds and speed. And usually the odds are better on a table game if you're playing it correctly. You're talking about dice. 1.4%. That's not too big. You play a slot machine and you're looking at 7, 8, 10%.
Right.
Or you look at a Keno machine, you're looking at 9 to 12%. And what's worse is they play really, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that the casinos make money is the amount you bet time their advantage. So the amount you bet gets higher and higher as you're playing faster. So, the rules of thumb are, look for table games instead of machines. If you're going to play a machine, you're better off playing video poker than than slots. And if you're going to play a table game, you're better playing at, and a lot of people disagree with this, but you're better off really playing at a full table because you get fewer hands and the house edge will not work on you so quickly.
Yeah, the speed. I usually, that's why I usually tell my episodes, always play maximum bet, or you should be playing. I even told some horror stories when I lived here. Some of the horror stories on people that one guy knocked his wife out because he had to go to the bathroom and he was putting in 3 coins at the time. I think it was $3 on Megabucks. And he had to go real bad. He waited. He finally went to the restroom and he
She hit it with one.
Don't let nobody play this machine and don't you play it. So everybody was around. Is he coming back? Is he coming back? She says, no, well, then we want to play. She goes, no, it's his machine. So she took one just to make him she hit Megabucks 5,000, but he would have won. I think it was 13 million. He cold-cocked her. He went to jail.
I think I remember
Yeah,
that.
there was this student. Oh God, I heard the story. And I almost cried. Was supposed to meet 4 other buddies at the Rio. They were gonna have a steak dinner. They were late, so he was standing next to Megabucks. He kept looking at it, looking at his watch, and he said, "Yeah, let me just play this thing." So he put the first $3, nothing. $3 more, nothing. $9. Put in the next 3, hit $11 million.
Wow.
You think he still went to college? I think he probably changed his degree.
Well, here's the thing about that, and this is to make people feel better if they think they missed out on an opportunity, like the guy with his wife put in 1. When you're not playing that machine, the random number generator is still active.
Exactly.
It's moving.
Remember, I said that on my episode.
So he would have had to have played it at the exact moment with the 3.
Thank you.
He was wrong for blaming her.
Exactly. That's. See, Aaron, remember I was telling you that? I tell that exactly on my episode. People play slot machines, and I tell them that random generator is running 24/7. That motherboard, yes, it has the same chip with the gaming control board, but that thing's running 1,000 series per second. If a waitress comes over and you're pulling, and all of a sudden, excuse me, you want a drink? Yeah, let me see. And boom, you just missed a jackpot.
Well, here's my favorite one. Here's my favorite Megabucks story. There's a guy in town who's a pretty well known. His name's Paul Howard, and he was on VSiN until recently. He does a lot of sports betting shows and all. And he's told this story himself. And I know Paul. When he first came to town, he had a tight girlfriend, and she wanted to get married, and he didn't. And she said, "Look, you're either going to marry me, or I'm gonna take off." And he's like, "Well, take off, go ahead." And a month later, she hit Megabucks.
Wow.
He didn't marry her, and she hit it for like 11, 12 million or something like that. He tells the story, and laughs about it. But gambling makes some crazy shit happen.
Okay, but now now watch this. This is what I tell people. Now think about this. I was a troubleshooter in masonry. Things would come up, but that would not happen if this happened over here. Okay, say they got married. What would they have been doing if they were married? What if she went
100%.
over there and done that? She probably never would have done it and never hit Megabucks.
100%. And that's the same argument about the random number generator always going. If they had gotten married, she wouldn't have been there playing.
Exactly.
So that wouldn't have happened. But still, you look at that and you go,
wow.
Holy mackerel, right? Yeah, you're right.
I know because I understand the way the process how a slot machine works, and I understand about these other games. There's probabilities and other things. There's human probabilities are in there because you would have not been there at that time.
Yeah.
Like
no one ever thinks about it like that, but you're right.
Aaron tells me, "Oh man, this guy won this Megabucks. Oh, this guy won 150,000. This guy won $1 million." I says, "And did they tell you about the other 100,000 people that lost all their money and their paychecks and their kids? They didn't tell you that though, huh?"
Well, there's a lot of that going on with with social media, where people, they post their winnings.
Right.
And I mean, some famous athletes like Mayweather, all you ever see Floyd Mayweather post are his winnings. You never see him post a loser. You think Floyd Mayweather is a 100% winner? No. I mean, there's just a lot of that stuff going on. And that's why people get the wrong idea and the wrong expectations about what gambling can do. Like you were saying, you've gone through the ups and downs, and and I've been through them all over, for years and years. It's not a one-way street, man, either way.
It's not. It's nice when you win. I mean, if you win
it's
big,
nice.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I had on my last, I think it was my last episode, number 10. That was actually a double feature too. I talk about, I did 4 episodes on horse racing. And the last one, I said, what I'm going to do? I normally don't do this, but I told them I'm going to show the people that have been watching my shows, I'm going to show them I practice what I preach. So I showed them my tickets, and we actually showed the race here, and I showed them where my horse was and where he was and how he got out of trouble, and he won. I had $200 to win on him. He was 7-1. I got back $1,680. And then I showed the pick 3. I won the pick 3, but I showed, I'm going to show them because anybody could sit here and say, oh, I won 40 grand over there and I won 30. Anybody can say that.
Yeah. Well, you hear about all these big wins after the fact.
Right.
And so it's the people who put it up beforehand saying, here's what I'm going to do.
Right, exactly.
And it
Like Babe
happens-
Ruth
Yeah.
pointing,
Yeah,
he's going to hit a home run.
exactly.
Yeah. Did you play any other games besides blackjack?
We played by we, you know, when we're talking about me, I had a pretty good group that I played with. And other guys who had done what I'd done. They had, you know, they came to town after studying the math, and we all got together, and we would play anything where we could get an edge. So
Right.
typically the games that you can get an edge on are blackjack, poker, video poker, horses, and sports. I mean,
Mm.
these are the 5 games.
Sports betting, yes.
But there are also, you can get an edge in every game if there are certain things going on. For example, if there's a tournament, you know, you could play a Tiddlywinks tournament and get an advantage if you play that tournament better than anybody else. So I played all the games if there was a special promotion going, or if there was a tournament going, or something was special happening. We played a lot of tournament gambling and did very well with it. We had computer programs that told us how to play better than, you know, the balance of the field. But if we're playing on the square, as we call it, meaning no special anything else, it would be those games I mentioned. So that leaves out craps, that leaves out baccarat, that leaves out roulette. These are games that some people think they can win at. You might be one of them. We didn't think so. So I didn't play those games. So I played, you know, mostly I played blackjack, poker, video poker, and sports. I didn't do much horse racing. I was never very good at horse racing.
Yeah, I was lucky I met Gary. I don't say his last name, but Gary, and he was playing horses since he was 12, plus the other 7 guys sitting. I was like a sponge soaking in all this knowledge. I was very lucky. Like you said, you didn't play roulette. I understand that. I think roulette, to me, it's not exciting. But what I did was that my last show, I showed patterns on the felt. But it goes to show you that there are numbers, there are patterns. But what I did is I broke down a lot of people try to play the felt. I broke down the wheel, and I put it, it's called cutting the pie, and that's in the book. It tells you sections of the pie, the 0 across the double 0. You have the 5 and across the 6, and I show you cutting the pie to put the ratios in your favor when you're playing. Yeah, you're gonna spend $30, but you're probably gonna win $6. But the ratios are in your favor to win. It's 30 for you and 8 for the casino. But it's just something that you instead, because all the time I deal that game, what did everybody do? Plop, 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 plop. They're plopping straight up numbers, straight, because they want to. We all want to win the big money. And I see them losing and losing. Here's another. Give me another 100. And I'm going, God, if these guys, I'm looking up at the tote board. I'm saying, yes, 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 yes. If they would have played, they would have won all this money. But it's not a guarantee. But you do. What I'm doing is I'm using math. I'm using the math. I'm putting the percentages in my favor. Is what I'm doing, and the ratios. So that's the only time I'll play roulette, and well, of course, blackjack, card counting, but. And then craps. I made a lot of money on craps. My record is $300 buy-in. I won $9,600 with $300. But I understand the game, and you have to press pull, use money management and hedge betting. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. You need to do your homework.
We were, to put it mildly, we were a bunch of nerds. You know, we were just total nerds, and we didn't go too far outside of the lines. And we just looked at the lines and said, okay. This doesn't add up to a winning game for us, so we never really got into it and explored it. I know there are a lot of ways to win at different games. My biggest win at craps in one day was $125,000.
Wow, that's good.
But the reason I did that was because I was playing a tournament in Atlantic City. So first place in that tournament was $125,000. So, you know, I've played these games and I've had, you know, success at these games, but only in the areas that I'm confident that I know what I'm doing. So, you know, to get on a table and start throwing money around on a crap table, I wouldn't do it, but I would do it in a tournament, as I have many times.
There was a tournament at Hilton. It was pretty close to the time when you were counting cards there in that tournament, because I talked to you a couple of times there. That's how I met you for the first time, when you were in that tournament. Then we sat out at the bar. We were having drinks, talking about the MIT team. There was a guy that won $50,000. He won the tournament. This guy, I swear, this guy was dressed. He looked like he was down on Fremont Street, down on his luck.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the guy wasn't even dressed up.
Yeah, you see a lot of guys like that. You know, I mean, you definitely in Vegas, you can't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
That's for sure.
Yep. It's like my buddy Gary. The guy was worth, well, I guess I'm not going to say, but I could say it was millions. And you would never think it. If you looked at this guy, he wore some nice sneakers. He had nice slacks, and and a shirt like yours. And then a couple other guys at the races that I was actually the simulcast in San Bernardino. You wouldn't believe all the millionaires that used to go there. And I got introduced to him. And I told Gary, who's that guy? Because he came up, talked to Gary. And I said, who's that guy? He goes, Richard, that guy's worth $12 million. I go, that guy? It was a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know. What I'm going to do here right now, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to do the commercial here. Anthony, this is his Las Vegas advisor. This is your...
Yeah, this is our newsletter. You know, we do a newsletter called Las Vegas Advisor. That's the current issue, which is the July issue, and we put it out once a month, and everything we know, and it comes with the other book you're holding, which is our member rewards book, and that is a bunch of coupons for Vegas. It's the best coupon book really for Vegas, and that's what we've been doing for years and years. We've sold hundreds of thousands of them. You know, people buy it when they come to Vegas. They use the coupons. 2 for 1 on meals and shows. I would say buffets, but there's no more buffets in Vegas, at least not many right now.
Right. I'm going to say you need to get this. You want to subscribe to it. This is the best thing right now to me because I looked all over. This is the best information you're going to get. If anybody wants to come to Las Vegas, you can look on the computer. I think it's called
LasVegasAdvisor.com.
LasVegasAdvisor.com. I look at that a lot, see what's going on in Vegas. But you can get these, and you save you a lot of money. But it's the information. People, you need the information. So I would look into this, and probably if you want, you could subscribe. And the newsletter comes out once a week.
Well, we at LasVegasAdvisor.com, it's every day. You know, like I appreciate you talking about this. This is what people buy from us. This is our top product. But on the website, I mean, we have all kinds of information that's free.
I've seen
I mean, every day we have the Vegas news, everything that's going on. We put it up.
Right.
And I mean, we have a question of the day. We have done a question of the day every single day for like 14, 15 years. And we've done thousands upon thousands of them. And we spend a lot of time and money and research assets on that, finding out, the question might be, when was the last time Sinatra played Vegas? Or it might be what happened to the Stardust, or it might be, a technical gambling question. And we do one every day. So I just say, people should come to LasVegasAdvisor.com, get the free information. If you're interested in what we do that you can buy, then you do it. If you want to. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah. No, I like I said, sometimes I'm sitting there at home on my computer, time I go, I want to see what's going on in Vegas. So I always go to your site and I'm looking, and sometimes I'm there for 2-3 hours. And man, my eyes, I got to get off this thing. But it's a lot of information. I would say people, you need to look at this, because this is where you want to come to Vegas. You want to learn anything about what's going on, buffets, cheap hotels. You got to look at this.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I look at web statistics for our competitors, for other gambling places and all. And there are some that they might get a little bit more traffic than us. Not always, maybe close to us, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, whatever. But usually the time spent on site there is 2 to 3 minutes. And our average time for every person that comes is 21 minutes. Spend a lot of time there because there's a lot to see.
Yeah,
there's a lot to read.
Yeah, sometimes I used to come here and get City Life.
Yeah, City Life.
City Life, and there's another one called, what is it, Insider Vegas or something like that?
There's a few of them. I mean, there was City Life. There was there was one called 7 Magazine for a while.
Yes,
there are a few of these different ones. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like this one, not because I have Anthony on it, but I've been looking at this thing for years, and I didn't know it was that old. I didn't know that. It says here.
Me too, right?
Well, I'm a lot older than you think, but the audience don't need to know that. Yeah, are you allowed in the casinos if you're a card counter? They frown upon it. Anthony, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. So that's the question. I'm allowed in the casinos, but I am pretty much not allowed to play the table games. And that's not just blackjack. They don't want me playing any game with cards. I'm very well known now because I've done so much television.
Right.
All right. So I kind of like burned myself out. I caused myself that. I burned myself out. But I'm not blacklisted. If you're blacklisted, if you're
Book
in the blacklist,
Griffin, they got the other one.
then you can't go into a casino at all. I'm very welcome to go into a casino, walk around, do stuff in there, eat at the restaurants, play the slot machines, play video poker. I don't play slots, I play video poker, but I'm not supposed to play table games. Every once in a while, I get stupid and I sit down and play, and they might come up and they're real nice and they go, "Aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they go, "We prefer you don't," and they're very nice about it.
Right.
So And it's dumb because it's not like I can go in there and win every time I sit down and play. It's not like I'm an ATM and I can just pull money out of there.
Yeah.
But they just go, look, we just prefer you wouldn't play.
Yeah, and on that, there's some people that are card count. They get caught. They go in the Book of Griffin. I know there's another one. I can't remember what it's called. You remember it?
There's a couple. There's one Oregon something or another and whatever. But the Griffin book was the main one. There's Biometrica. There's a few things that they do.
There's a lot of people if they get caught blacklisted, when they take them they do use the iris. They do take it digitally. So if you put on a disguise and they do use that software, they will know it's you, even if you're dressed up as a woman.
Yeah, that's the facial recognition stuff,
Right.
and they still never really perfected that. It makes mistakes, but it's gotten better and better over the years. I mean, back when I was playing in the 80s and 90s, it was just coming out. And it was crappy. They could never pick anybody off. But these days, yeah, they're a lot better with that.
Yeah, what was that guy's name? Andy.
Oh, Andy Anderson.
Yeah, Andy Anderson.
How do you know this? That's good. Yes.
I know a lot of stuff.
He was. I can guarantee you the guy in 21.
Right.
Who was who was the bad guy, right? The cop.
Right.
And God, who was that?
Fishburne.
Fishburne. Yeah, it was Lawrence Fishburne. He was, I could just about guarantee you he was patterned after Andy Anderson. And that's funny because Fishburne's a black guy and Andy was about as white gets.
Right.
But I guarantee you that Andy Anderson and Fishburne's character was patterned after Anderson.
Yeah.
That's pretty good you come up with that name. That's pretty good.
Well,
man.
there was well, she's the one that owned the Book of Griffin, the woman. But yeah, he said, I used to go after these kids. These kids we're playing a cat and mouse game. They do what they're doing. I'm going to do what I do. It's nothing personal, but this is my job.
Yeah,
so that was interesting.
One time he used to show up and bust our gigs, right? He'd show up and bust our gigs. We'd find something, and then Andy would show up. And I remember once the Sahara was dealing baccarat with no commission.
Oh.
All right, so if they deal a baccarat game and they don't take their 5% on winnings, then you've got about a 1.25% edge. So our whole team was sitting there playing for the table max, and we were doing great, and they thought we were just a bunch of crazy high rollers, and they were confident us and all of that. All of a sudden, somebody said, these guys are winning too much. What's going on? So they called Griffin, and Anderson walks up, and he looks, and he sees me, and he sees all of us, and he just shakes his head, and he goes, and I go, there's Andy, we got to go. And nobody said anything. Andy laughed, and I said, we got to go.
Wow. What year was that?
That would have been back in end of the 80s or early 90s.
Yeah, because I don't think must have been was it this casino here or
it was the Sahara.
Really?
Yeah,
because
it was the Sahara.
they have a game now called the Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a casino, Indian casino, and they do the same thing. But I think the guy who has a patent on Dragon, he's paying the 5%.
It's different. No, what they do there is there's a difference in the way they rank the hands. All right, so it doesn't. There's like a push where a push would not normally be, something along those lines, and it swings the edge back. But with standard baccarat rules on the banker bet, there's no commission on the player bet because that
Right.
edge is built in.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a symmetry there, and on the banker bet, it's positive where the player game is negative, so you've got to pay that commission. So if they pull the commission out, then you have an edge. And they thought they had a real cool. They were like, it's probably not important. It was important.
Yeah,
So,
because they don't look at the percentages. Any game you have to tear them down and look at what are the percentages and the ratios of the game. And if you can put that in your favor, you have a better chance. But there are good and bad bets. That's why you have to play the bet that's going to favor you.
Well, that's what it's all about. That's what we did. I
Yeah.
mean, when we, like I said, we were a bunch of nerds, and we came out and we all had our calculators and our propellers heads on. We had our propeller heads, whatever they call those things. And we
Beanie? Was
would,
that beanie?
right. And we would work these things out and make a determination. Do we have an edge or do we not?
What is that? Is that for Anthony?
I know Frankie Citro.
Yeah, it's my friend.
Yeah, I know. It says Frankie Citro is blacklisted around the world. I know Frankie. Frankie's blacklisted not for being a gambler. Frankie's blacklisted for some other things. Being a bit connected.
Yeah.
But I knew Frankie. Frankie used to work the door at Capozzoli's. I don't know if you remember that. He used to work the door over at Capozzoli's, and Capozzoli is closed now. But I see him every once in a while in a bar out here called Jackson's, and he came up and talked to me once. Told me he wanted to do a book. I says, "Bring it, baby." I go, "This is gonna be good stuff."
Yeah, Steve Fisher. You know him? Steve Fisher. He self-promoted his book.
I think I do know it.
He did out of his trunk, and the gambler store here. They actually worked out a deal where he had it there. I met him there, and we were talking about Vegas, and that was when the mob ran Vegas. That went #1 in New York. But that is an interesting book. Tells you the stories of what was going on when the mob was here.
Well, we do mostly gambling books. We've done about 100 books. Most of them are gambling, but we also do mob books. We do a lot of mob books because people really like that. Yeah, our latest one, our newest one is called Radical Blackjack.
Yeah, right here, Aaron. This is the latest book.
Just came out. I mean, literally, it got delivered last week.
And I got one.
And the guy who did it, his name's Arnold Snyder, and he's in the Blackjack Hall of Fame. And what's interesting about this book, we've been talking about beating blackjack by counting cards. This book is about all the ways that he beat blackjack, not counting. He beat blackjack through shuffle tracking. He beat blackjack through hole carding. He beat blackjack by playing warps, as they're called. He beat it by playing with loss rebates. These are a whole bunch of things that people don't know exist. And when you've been in the business for years and years and years as a pro, you come up with all these different things. One of them is called edge sorting, where you literally look at the way the cards are cut, and there's a technique for doing it that way. That's what Radical Blackjack's about. A lot of this stuff has never been written about before.
You're involved in this one?
Yeah, we published it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can go, where can you get this at?
Everywhere. I mean, they can get it at LasVegasAdvisor.com. They can get it at Amazon, and it'll be in bookstores pretty soon.
Okay. So you can Google Kindle?
Kindle, yeah. It's up on Kindle right now.
Okay. So this is new to me. I understand what you're saying about shuffle tracking, and there's a couple others, but the other stuff I've never heard of. So there's a lot of people getting smarter because of computers and just figuring out things.
You like gambling, you'll like this book.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll read some things in there going, really?
Yeah.
People actually did that. And it's all true. It's all verified stuff.
Okay, well, that's great. So did you, let me see, so you played, how about poker?
I've played poker, and I've had some success, but I don't consider myself a poker expert. I had to make a decision how much time did I want to devote to getting good at it. And to be really good at poker, you have to spend a lot of time studying and a lot of time playing to perfect the game. And I just decided that I didn't want to spend that time. So I would call myself a reasonable poker player. I would not call myself in any way an expert, on the levels of like Helmuth and Negreanu and all those kind of guys. Not even close, not in their league.
Right.
I famously played in the World Series of Poker and got knocked out by Sammy Farha on ESPN. I was on the ESPN table, and I made a dumb play on ESPN in the biggest tournament in the world. So a lot of people bring that up to me and go, "How smart are you? Remember that?" I'm like, yeah.
Farha, I think he, how do you say, carries himself like he's the next Bogart.
Yeah,
you ever notice that?
I know he looks just like and he acts. But he sucked me into a pot. I had aces in the hole in the pocket, and he had threes, and he sucked me in. He flopped a 3, and he beat me with this set of threes against my aces.
Yeah,
but he outplayed me. Definitely, he outplayed me.
So you had a pocket.
I had pocket aces.
And he had pocket. That's 1 in 3. That's the average is 1 in 3 people are going to have a pair at the table with. So if you have 9 people, more likely it's 3 of them probably going to have a pair. But that's the average.
Well, the great play that he made was that he called a bet that I made, knowing that if he were to flop the 3, he was going to get all my money. And he did. He risked just enough by the mathematical calculations. He risked just enough to make it a proper play. Mm-hmm. And darned if that 3 didn't flop. Now, if that 3 hadn't flopped, I beat him. Well, and I've got a big lead on the table, but it flopped, and I played it all the way through instead of getting off of it. So
but a lot of people are not going to give up aces anyway.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to give up aces. So, when I go back and I analyze that play that I made, I should have dropped it, but I didn't.
But you saw the flop when you were deciding.
Yeah, and I saw it was a 7 and a 3 and a 10, and I'm like, that doesn't look too dangerous to me. But that's why I say I'm good at some things. I'm not at others. Poker's not my thing. Horses aren't my thing.
Right.
Some of the other games, yeah.
Yeah, everything. A lot of these games all of these games are actually math. You have to understand they're math, so you have to learn the percentage and ratios of all these games. Anything I do in life, I look at it either mathematically or using physics. Like at the carnivals, I used to win. Well, actually, Circus here they don't have it anymore, but they used to have the plates. You throw a dime or a quarter.
Yeah.
I used to win it practically within 75 cents because I was using physics. You get a quarter, and everybody's going to probably try this at carnivals. You get a quarter or a dime, and you lay it flat, and then you look at the plate, and you stand sideways, and you look at where you're going to drop it, where it's going to hit the plate. So you throw it in the quarter dime goes like this, and it stops.
Yeah,
Boom, boom, boom.
Technique.
I won so many. I had 30 animals when I was here.
Yeah.
I had them in my apartment. I just gave them away.
That's good for picking up chicks. That's
Right.
Good.
Yeah, I walked through the casino. Me and a friend, we walked through the casino. We had at that time it was Jurassic Park, and she held. What do you call it? The Tyrannosaurus, and I held the two Brontosaurus. They were 4 feet tall. Everybody in the casino was looking at us, dragging them across the casino.
You're a carny hustler, man.
It's the physics of the game. It's like anything. Like this, it's math.
Yeah, well, it's math and technique.
Right.
So that's interesting. So that's a phone call. You want me to answer that?
Go ahead.
This is when did you realize you were good at what you do? That's actually a pretty. I love that question. It's good because I didn't know for a while that I was good. When I came to Vegas, I knew that I'd done all the study, but my results didn't really show. And luckily, I had read and understood that you could be very good at blackjack. Blackjack was my main area of expertise.
Right.
You could be very good at blackjack, and you could lose for a long time. And things weren't going well for quite a while. And I was able to, because I had read and studied and knew that it could go badly, I didn't give up on it. And I guess I began to realize I was good when I kind of got into with the other good players that I knew were good, and we started winning together. And I knew I wouldn't be able to play with them. I was the youngest guy.
Right.
Like when you talk about the MIT team, I said that team that we were playing on, Alan Brown was the guy who was in charge of that. And Alan asked me to be on his team. And the fact that he and those guys who were very successful watched me play and wanted me, that's when I realized I was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the results began to bear out.
Yeah. Also being on a team, you don't have to worry too much about losses because the team itself, they could be winning, you could be losing, or it could be in the middle.
That's why you do it. That's one of the reasons that you play on teams. One is that it evens out the fluctuations.
Right.
So if you get 3 guys lose and 4 guys win, you're still going to make a little bit of money. And sometimes 6 guys are going to win and 1 guy's going to lose. And rarely is only 1 guy going to win and 6 guys are going to lose, or girls. Some of the people on this team were women who were very good.
Yeah.
And so you get on a team for a couple of reasons. One is to put your money together, pool your money so you can
Right.
bet more. 2 is to even out those fluctuations. 3 is for the camaraderie and for
Yeah.
the discussion. And so, we would get together after playing and say, what did we do good and what did we do wrong? And did you see that? Is there an edge by playing this way? And we'd all get together, and certain guys were good computer guys. Certain guys were better with the numbers than others. And we would collectively, some were better just playing on the out in the field. They just knew how to pick things up. And you put all that stuff collectively on a team, and you come up with some pretty good plays.
Yeah. I knew about the MIT team when I was here. God, I can't remember what year. That story. I have 3 stories that happened to me. There's one on blackjack, craps, and rule. Those are 2 stories what happened to me. But I was at the Riviera, and I was playing blackjack, and I was drinking. I was already hammered, but like I said, I could count.
Because you're better.
Yeah, I just it doesn't bother me, but sometimes I got to concentrate a little bit more. But I can see them. I wait till all the cards are out first, and then I go, because I do a three-step counting, and I already know what it is. Then I'm looking around like I'm not paying attention. So one time I was winning, and that story's in there. I kept winning. I was up 1,300, then I was up 1,500. I go, damn, I'm doing pretty good. So I was looking around because I was pretending I wasn't concerned, and I saw a guy standing there, one of the floor guys with the suit, looking at me. And then I go, that guy's looking at me. And then I look over, there's a guy over there. I go,
Heat.
oh shit, they probably think I'm on that MIT team.
Well,
And
that's heat.
Yeah,
That's what we call heat.
Yeah, I cashed out. I won 20. I can't remember. It was in the book, $2,200. I think I only bought in for $300, but I won it fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the count was good, and I was splitting, double down.
Well, they don't like winners.
No,
I
no.
mean, any way you look at it, the casinos don't want winners.
No.
So if you're winning, they're going to take a hard look at you to see why you're winning.
Yeah.
And that's in the business that's known as drawing heat.
Yeah.
And people go, we got heat. We might, it might be time to leave.
Yeah, I tell some people, I know a couple of guys that buy in for $3 to $5 grand. I tell them, don't do that. If you're on a crap table and you buy it for 3,000, you're suspect of money laundering. Just don't do it. You don't need to do it. Just play as you go. So, but I mean, me and you, but we probably got. I mean, we've got tons of stories. Blackjack, I got tons of blackjack, craps, roulette, poker, horse racing. Oh God, that's a headache in itself. The stories I got in horse racing.
Well, horse racing I never liked because you start at 22%. You know, I mean, the takeout is usually around 22%, 18 to 22. Hard to beat, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it can be beaten, but it's difficult to beat.
Yeah, the for every dollar you bet, the track keeps 19 cents. So you're looking at a lot of them are $2 bets. So when I play horses, when I see horses going around, people just see horses. Oh, look at my number's number 3. I see all kinds of stuff that people don't see. I'm looking at where they're at, what position they're in, the distance, the breeding, what the jockey's doing. Is he rating him? Is he getting him to try to go?
It's amazing. People who can, you know, like I said, 18 to 22. You quote 19. You know, anything like that. That is a gigantic mountain to overcome.
Right.
So those who are able to overcome that, they're extremely expert at what they're doing in terms of handicapping, understanding the numbers, understanding how they all come together, reading the form, you know, staying up on it.
Yeah.
And I have utmost respect for those kind of people. There's just not a skill I have.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, like for 9 years, like I went to college. I that's all I did for 9 years. Every day I was at that track, and Gary asked me one day, "Rich, are you going to work?" Because he said a lot of guys that he knew did that, lost their marriages, their homes, lost their jobs, became alcoholics because of horse racing.
Yeah, well, there's, you know, some good movies about it. I don't know, you've seen California Split or some of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I was fortunate that I met Gary and the other guys, but Gary was the main guy. So, like I've actually done really good in the past. Cheapers. What is it, a month, Aaron? I sent him the pictures. He's going, yeah. I'm actually, Saratoga's my favorite, and Del Mar is my number one. But I kicked the ass of Saratoga last night in one race. Last year's Saratoga, I won $5,700 in one race.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I like Del Mar, but not to bet it. I like to go there. It's so beautiful.
Are you gonna mention it?
So much fun.
That track, if you ever want to bet Del Mar, don't bet front runners. Always bet for, of course, come from behind. And in my segments, my 4 segments, I talk about the track, the way the track is, and when you know it's closing, because you got to look up and look at the splits. So, but everything, I explain everything in those 4 episodes. What do we got, Aaron? Okay, we're going to be leaving here, Vegas Studios. This is Full Tilt Vegas, and I want to thank Anthony Curtis for coming on my show. This guy, I've known him for quite some time, but we don't know each other, but we met. But get this, you need to go and get these. Anthony, you want to say goodbye?
Yeah, just anybody who liked what they heard, come to LasVegasAdvisor.com. You know, just get some more of it.
Okay, we're going to say goodbye here. Tune in next Saturday, 6 p.m. We're going to show another one on craps, and we're going to be actually playing the game with Cliff. So we'll say goodbye here. Go make some money.